Good morning everyone and welcome to this week's video. This feels like a bit of a novelty because what I'm going to be doing today is some photography. It seems like it's been a very long time since I've done that. Apologies if it's quite windy on the old muff, but that might be due to the fact that there's a storm just about to hit today. But this seems to be the best weather we might get before it actually hits in a couple of hours. It's cloudy, it's sunny, and there's this wee thing over here to look at. It's quite funny. What I've actually realised over the last couple of weeks, and potentially months, is that I haven't done much photography. I've been so focused on learning how to do YouTube videos, edit and all that, and trying to make it look good, that I've actually forgotten my entire passion for photography. So I'm away for 8 days up in the Glencoe region, but today we've driven a little bit further north and quite a bit further west, and we're on the edge of the western coast of Scotland. But what we've came today to try and get some photographs of is Tioram Castle. Tioram Castle is a stunning castle, and it is something I only found out about in the last couple of weeks. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not really anticipating any phenomenal light. Did you see me trip there? Tripped. So Castle Tioram, spelled Tioram, was built in the 13th century, I believe, making it 800 odd years old. I know how it feels. And it was built very strategically at the joining of two bodies of water, which gave it a great view over any invading ships, because back in those days, most people got about by boat. So access to the castle is along this beach here. It's only accessible at low tide. High tide was at 7:30 this morning, which was about 2.5–3 hours ago. So it's now opening up. There's still a little bit of water over there, but I think we can venture over to see what the castle looks like up close. And if you don't see me for a while, it's because I get my timings wrong, and I'm going to be living in that castle for a wee while. So well. So we're going to try and get a wee shot from here. Unfortunately, light is very poor at the moment. Clouds is thickening up and there's no light on that there castle. But these rocks round about here might offer us a little bit of foreground interest. Again, just using the rule of thirds to try and pick which side I think she looks better on. So I'm shooting at f8. We've got a shutter speed of 1/180, so that should be fast enough to handhold. A good tip is always to try and get low when you take a shot. Make sure that you're not just taking everything at head height. That is what everybody's used to seeing the world as, so if you get a chance to show it, it's slightly different. I'm shooting at 24mm at the moment on the focal range, which is bringing in these rocks here just in front of me, and they lead right in. In fact, that looks much better. I could focus stack this, but I don't really want it. I have a personal taste that I like to see the foreground just a little bit soft. Excellent. First one in the bag. Let's go. Oh, did you see that there? I nearly fell all the way down the hill. Actually quite remarkable how much I've missed doing this. It's absolutely stunning. It just goes to show you don't need fantastic light to enjoy yourself. I've fallen into that trap of just going out at sunset and at sunrise, and Nancy hates when it's sunrise. I kind of miss things like this, days like this. Maybe I've been greedy, but a wee bit of light would really help. You can't actually get inside the castle at the moment. There was a bit of it collapsed inside, I think in 2000, and it's never really been properly restored. I think it's been made secure, but there's also a bit of a debate raging on about the castle, and that the person that owns this land, I believe, wanted to turn it into his main residence, but the National Trust and a lot of people who signed a petition had something to say about that and believe it should be kept for the Scottish people and all the tourists to come and see its beauty. What do you think? Put your opinion in the comments down below. So I'm trying to find a second composition. Can't just have that one photograph. And I've come all the way round and I'm on this beautiful little beach. And you can actually, if I move that, please work, there you go. You get a really good idea of the size and how imposing that must look if you were coming up the water. Try and ransack the place. One of its owners, I'll check who it was back in the day to avoid it falling into empty hands. Falling into empty hands? To avoid it falling into empty hands. To avoid this falling into empty hands, it won't. Empty hands again. Hands are empty. Are your hands empty? To stop the castle falling into enemy hands, it was burned deliberately and then left for the people to come and try and inhabit. But it wasn't in a particularly good state. I think it got 3 stars on Zoopla house thing. This time we're right round the front side of the castle, as I mentioned. What I'm trying to do here is get the imposing nature of the castle. And what I've chosen to do is I'm shooting this really wide, which might seem counterintuitive, but it will fit everything in. But with the distortion of the lens at the top and bottom, I'm hoping that if I go into a portrait orientation, then I can stretch the castle out a little bit. Not too much, but just enough to get the scale, the sense of scale. I've also tried to do a couple of landscape shots. There's a lovely tree over here on the right hand side I'm going to try and fit into the composition. It's starting to look decent, and the clouds are actually starting to look very foreboding, and I think if I do some exposure bracketing on here, I'm going to try and get some really dark and mean looking clouds, and then the lighter exposure of the castle, hopefully bring out some of the texture of the ivy that's clinging to the walls. It's truly beautiful, and wow. What a day, what a day. Do you know, it turns out photography is great fun.